Domestic violence is a pattern of behaviors that generally includes physical, emotional, psychological, sexual abuse that's used by one individual in a relationship to exert power and control over another individual in that relationship.
It's a huge problem. And if 1 or 3 women suffer that, so many children are growing up in homes and are being exposed to violence early in their life. What we're doing is we're creating a society where so many people are not only victims of domestic and sexual violence, but are learning that that's a way of life, and we have to interrupt that cycle.
As a corporation that provides communication services to tens of millions of people and that employs tens of thousands of people, we had a responsibility to step up to this problem and to take it out from under the rug, to make it public, and to do something about it with our resources.
And we thought the best place to do that was with our own technology. So we put our technology to work in helping victims of domestic violence, and we've stayed on that track for the last 10 years.
Through its Hopeline program, Verizon Wireless donates money, phones, and service to domestic violence shelters and organizations for use with victims.
Part of domestic violence is about isolation. The Hopeline phones give them access to the outside world. You can call 911 if necessary. You can call your family, your friends. You can call our crisis line. So with the phone, you have an independence. You really do have an independence.
People need to be able to call, to talk to somebody, to be validated, to talk to a counselor, to just say, I need to know you're there. I need to know that I can call if I need help.
A lot of women are using it, to prepare themselves to get out of the situation, to start maybe looking after a shelter, looking for a place to live, an apartment on their own. So this is really a lifeline for them.
I've used in my lifetime cell phone about like 15, 20, a lot.
I have my old one and probably maybe like 3 others, older phones in a drawer on a shelf. Yeah.
In 1985, there were less than 500,000 cell phones in the United States. Today, there are 233 million. Well, you just have this tremendous expansion. Inform decided to do a project on this.
If we assume that, on average, a person uses a phone for a year and a half, that means over 150 million phones are replaced every year. The question is, what's happening with those 150 million phones?
Put it in the trash, it ends up in an incinerator or a landfill, from which these toxic substances can leach into the environment, into soil, into water, and into air.
From any manufacturer, any service provider, and in any condition to any Verizon Wireless store in the United States.
I feel good about the company helping people in need. Actually, I had one customer that was really excited about that because she was in that position at one point. She was a battered woman and she was in a shelter and she was just really happy. She's like, wow, you have something like that? Great. Here's all of the phones.
It makes me feel very proud to be a part of Verizon for that.
Hopeline has grown into the use of thousands and thousands of phones by victims of domestic violence, and also millions of dollars donated from the refurbishment and the resale of phones donated by our generous customers in our stores.
And Hopeline has empowered others to get involved, sometimes in incredible ways. Meet Carol Adams with the Richmond, Virginia Police Department.
This is the closet where I keep the cell phones. I think it's probably about 1,500 phones in here. I get them from churches, I get them from schools, I get them in little bags and where they'll keep all the parts associated with the certain phones together so that I know where all the pieces go. And here we have some more. And just have phones. The reason I collect cell phones and promote the domestic violence awareness is because of my experiences as a child growing up. A lot of people did not know about me losing my mom to domestic violence. I think it was in November. It was her birthday, and it got kind of bad. And then Christmas came, and then they argued. And one night, I came home, and everything at home was quiet. And then I heard shots, and I went to the phone, and I called 911, and I said my dad shot my mom. My number one priority, the awareness and the education, because even though everybody in the family knew, and unlike other families, it's the secret.
What a difference it makes to start addressing this issue and create an environment where folks can talk about it. That's been probably one of the most helpful things as far as having corporate support.
When we started in 1980, first of all, very few people were willing to talk about it. Very few people were willing to say they needed help. Very few people were willing to actually do anything about it. And now we have legislators who are creating legislation that is funding programs across the country. We have corporations like Verizon Wireless who are taking a stand to end domestic violence. And now everybody is saying, and it's a good thing, that they want to be part of the solution.
A cell phone can be a vital lifeline from a person to a 911 operator, from a victim of domestic violence to a shelter, from a victim of domestic violence to a friend or a relative. And so we're proudly providing that vital lifeline to victims of domestic violence every day.
Hi, my name is Jared Rogers, and I'm with Verizon Wireless. I'm the assistant store manager at the University Store in Seattle, Washington. And you guys want to find out a little bit about our Hopeline program, which is a program that we use to help victims of domestic violence nationwide and in Washington State. Basically, the way this works is people have a lot of phones, which produces, unfortunately, a whole lot of waste. Last year, we were able to collect over 1 million phones nationwide. We collected over 1 million phones, and all it takes is when you get a new phone or you have something you don't need anymore. It could be broken, it could be in 2 pieces. It doesn't really matter. You just drop it in this box right here, and we make sure that gets to our national center, and we refurbish the phones, we use the parts, we do whatever we have to. And you know what? If it can't be used, then we go ahead and we just recycle it in an eco-friendly way. It creates a lot of waste, so that's going to be better. Now, with these phones, with either the proceeds from the phones that we refurbish and sell, or with the phones that we can just put together just as they are, we donate these phones through different agencies throughout the United States, law enforcement agencies, domestic violence shelters, women's shelters, and we either donate money directly. We donated $165,000 to domestic violence shelters in Washington State alone. And we donate phones with prepaid minutes. We donated over 60 million minutes last year, just basically to victims of domestic violence. On any Verizon Wireless phone, you can type in pound, H-O-P-E, pound HOPE, and that'll automatically connect you to the Domestic Violence National Hotline. And it's that simple. We get a lot of phones in here. It's kind of cool. Some of them are really, really old. I always like to see, the old bag Motorola phones, the ones with the 50-pound batteries, or those old brick phones that you hold up to your ear. It's interesting to see how many people, especially in Washington, actually do donate this kind of stuff. I worked in Florida about a year ago, and the contribution Washingtonians are making is really nice to see.